offering of lights will be done by Kira Nishihara and her mom, Christy. My mom, Rochelle Tagawa, will now do the offering of rice porridge. Please rise for Vandana and Ti-Sarana, led by Reverend Blaine. Let us all sing both the Pali and English parts together with him. Please remain standing as Reverend Blaine will now share an aspiration.
Please join me in Gasho. We gather this morning as friends in the Dharma, as fellow travelers along the journey of life. On Bodhi Day, we celebrate the great awakening of Siddhartha Gautama, the one who had become Shakyamuni Buddha. It is said after spending the long dark of night under the leaves of the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha would realize enlightenment when the morning star appeared in the eastern sky. Dispelling his spiritual darkness, he would become the Buddha, the awakened one, declaring, "As earth is my witness, seeing this morning star, all things and I awaken together." We rejoice in the promise of universal liberation through the Dharma, and we gratefully receive this gift of Buddha's teachings, which enables us to awaken to the working of wisdom and compassion in our lives, dispelling the darkness of our greed, anger, and ignorance. Let us endeavor to listen to the Buddha Dharma with not just our ears, but with our entire being, and strive to embody the teachings in our thoughts, through our words, and by our actions. May we always take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows us the way in this life, the Dharma, the way of understanding and love, and the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Entrusting the dynamic activity of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion, we call the honored name of Amida Buddha in gratitude, joy, and awareness. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Nammanda Butsu. Nammanda Butsu. Nammanda Butsu.
You may be seated. It is now time for offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting with the front rows and moving towards the back. Please use both incense burners. Let us now observe a moment of silent meditation.
Namandab, 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 namandab.
Reverend Blaine will now lead us in chanting the sutra Sanbutsuge. Words can be found on page 47 in the red service book and on your screen. Again, page 47.
The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to supreme awakening. The Sanbutsuge, or Hymn in Praise of Buddha, is a poem from the larger Pure Land Sutra in which Amida Buddha, as a bodhisattva, praises his teacher and makes his 48 vows to establish the Pure Land of Enlightenment for the welfare and happiness of all beings. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows made to awaken all beings. The Hymn in Praise of Buddha, Sanbutsuge. 世上位海人精進両勢三昧知恵以上五世特部不行志願一切空一切大安下士有仏百千六万無量大小修行五者供養一切使徒勝負不尿愚道見性不逆因尿五者小仏世界無不影無種鮮度光明師匠変師諸国両勢精進異人難量両がサブ国土第一五種金明道場超絶国如内音任務闘争ガト愛民道達一切解剖来生心熱症状意図学国下落安穏古物神妙是が心象発願の日力少々欲解剖生存知恵無限上領子孫知が信用下領心死食毒中画行精進年中不敬 Namannabu, 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 namandabu, namandabu.
Please rise for the Gatha, listen to his voice. Words can be found on page 92 in the Praises of the Buddha, Gatha book, and on your screen. Again, page 92.
Gladly sing the children's voices in Lord Buddha's temple bright, as they tell the wondrous story of his search to find truth's light. 'Neath the tree the master seated found Nirvana's radiant peace. Saw before his eyes the pathway whereby all men's ills shall cease. Oh, what glorious light was shining from Lord Buddha's gentle face, as he went to preach salvation to the people of his race. And the people, when they heard him, gladly walked the Eightfold Way, leading from the realms of darkness into everlasting day.
Please be seated. This morning, it is an honor and privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Ms. Chenxing Han. Chenxing Han is the author of Be the Refuge, Raising the Voices of Asian American Buddhists, and the forthcoming book, One Long Listening, a memoir of grief, friendship, and spiritual care, both with North Atlantic Books. She is a regular contributor to Lion's Roar, Tricycle, Buddha Dharma, and other publications, and a frequent speaker and workshop leader at schools, universities, and Buddhist communities around the nation. Chenxing holds a bachelor's from Stanford University, a master's in Buddhist studies from the Graduate Theological Union, and a certificate in Buddhist chaplaincy from the Institute of Buddhist Studies in Berkeley, California. She is a co-teacher of Listening to the Buddhists in Our Backyard at Phillips Academy, Andover, and a co-organizer of May We Gather, a national Buddhist memorial for Asian American ancestors. As a writer and chaplaincy-trained educator, Chenxing is especially passionate about supporting young Asian American Buddhists in their creative and spiritual explorations. Please give a warm, welcoming aloha to Chenxing Han.
Thank you so much, Alyssa, for that warm introduction. And thank you, Reverend Higa, for the kind invitation to join you all today for this year's Bodhi Day service. I'm really humbled and grateful to have the opportunity to share some of my personal reflections on awakening for today's auspicious service. So I have a very simple PowerPoint, which I want to It's really just some images. So I thought I'd open with a question that often comes to my mind. What brought you here to this moment? I don't mean what the make and model of your car is, although that could be part of your answer. If we were asking this question collectively, we might wonder, what are all the causes and conditions that made it possible for us to gather here today? Well, we could spend the rest of our lives untangling this question, the answer to this question. This question makes me think of the Japanese expression, ichiko ichie, literally translating to one time, one meeting. Ichiko ichie gives us a taste of just how fleeting and precious and unrepeatable every moment of our lives are. And of course, our lives themselves are fleeting and precious and unrepeatable. I first learned the expression ichigo ichie from Reverend Landon Yamaoka, who's the assistant minister at the Palo Alto Buddhist Temple and a good friend of Reverend Blaine's, back when Landon and I were at the Institute of Buddhist Studies in Berkeley studying together. After Landon taught me the expression, I seemed to encounter it everywhere. When I stayed at a Buddhist college in Taiwan in 2015, a professor there gave me this carved piece of wood as a parting gift, and I keep it now on my writing desk back home in California. More recently, I was walking by the San Jose Batsuin, and there on the sidewalk was a rock sitting there with ichigo ichie on it as well. So it occurred to me that one of the countless causes and conditions that made it possible for us all to be here today was the Buddha's enlightenment. Bodhi Day celebrates this momentous awakening. This full moon holiday is observed by Buddhists around the world. This is including in Mahayana traditions, such as Pure Land and Zen, in Vietnam, Japan, the Philippines, Korea, and China. And Theravada Buddhists in South and Southeast Asia, as well as Vajrayana Buddhists in Tibet, Mongolia, so forth, celebrate Gautama Buddha's enlightenment on Vesak, which for them also marks the Buddha's birthday and parinirvana, or death day. So, of course, regardless of our sect or lineage, Buddhists all around the world take refuge in the triple gem of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And there would be no Buddha without awakening. After all, Buddha means the awakened one. So sometimes it seems like awakening is a lofty concept and a totally unattainable goal. How are we to measure up to Prince Siddhartha with his lifetimes of bodhisattva practice and his willingness to abandon wealth, rank, family, to undergo 6 years of extreme ascetic practice? Well, it's helpful to remember the ascetic practice wasn't actually working. The bodhisattva was wasting away. But fortunately, the day he resolved to sit underneath a bodhi tree and not move until he attained awakening coincided with the annual milk rice offering that a certain lady Sujata made each year to the guardian spirit of a magnificent banyan tree. Sujata had been making this offering annually for 20 years. So there are different versions of the story of how Sujata made the milk rice. One version notes that she only used the milk of the 7th generation of 100 milch cows grazing in a wood of licorice, meaning that she first let 100 milch cows graze in that pasture, then waited for them to give birth to another 100 milch cows, and let those cows graze in that pasture, and so forth, all the way down to the 7th generation. In another version, she lets 1,000 milch cows graze in the licorice wood, feeds their milk to 500 cows, feeds the 500 cows milk to 250 cows, then 125 cows, then 64, 32, 16, down to 8, all to obtain the thickest and creamiest and most nutritious possible milk. So in short, Sujata did not just buy a big tub of rice pudding from Costco. On this particular day, Sujata was noticing all kinds of magical things when making her milk rice, like how the milk was flowing automatically from the udders of the cow and how no smoke was coming out of her oven as she cooked this milk rice. So she's thinking, oh, the guardian spirit of the banyan tree must be in a really good mood today. And she asked her maidservant, Punya, to clean up the tree. As the Burmese monk Venerable Mingun Sayadaw writes in the Great Chronicle of the Buddhas, the maidservant thus made haste and was near the banyan tree, where she saw the bodhisattva sitting at its foot, facing east, and also the whole tree shining gold and yellow with the radiance emitting from the Buddha's body, from the bodhisattva's body, rather. Frightened and thinking, today the guardian deva of the banyan tree has come down from the tree. It seems to me he is sitting there to receive the offering with his own hands. She hurried back home and reported the matter to Lady Sujata. So Lady Sujata is so happy upon hearing this wonderful news that she asks Punya right then and there to become her own adopted daughter. And then Lady Sujata then pours this milk rice, so carefully prepared, into a golden cup for this special occasion. So I love this part of the Buddha-to-be's awakening story for many reasons. First of all, the details are marvelous, and that they've been passed down to us by countless people over countless generations is in and of itself pretty miraculous. Second, we start to understand that the Buddha's awakening isn't just about him achieving an individual goal. It's actually about the cultivation of relationships, of kinship even, with a vast and interconnected web of beings. Third, we see the Buddha-to-be is like all of us. He can't achieve his goals alone. None of us have gotten to where we are now without the generosity of others. And if I can add a bonus fourth reason, I once heard an Italian scholar talk about the story of Sujata and her offering of risotto. I like how we can take this story and adapt it to our own cultural contexts. Maybe a Hawaiian Sujata would make poi from 7th generation taro roots that have been farmed in the richest possible volcanic soil that she could find. When Sujata approaches the Bodhisattva, the earthen alms bowl that he was using for his past 6 years of austere practice instantly and inexplicably disappears. She places the gold bowl full of milk rice in the Bodhisattva's hand and walks away. As Venerable Sayadaw tells it, Lady Sujata then says, "O Venerable One, I have offered you the Ghana milk rice in the gold cup. May you accept it, together with the gold cup, and go anywhere you like." Then uttering words of prayer, "My heart's desire is fulfilled, so too may your heart's desire be fulfilled." She departed without showing the least concern for the gold cup, which was worth 1 lakh, as if it were a withered leaf. The Bodhisattva then carries the gold cup to the river Naranjara. He leaves the cups there, takes a bath, and then forms the milk rice into 49 morsels, which sustain him for 49 days after his enlightenment that day. And during his enlightenment, he is in meditative absorption these whole 49 days, though eventually he's coaxed to go forth and share his teachings, fortunately for us. So what did the Bodhisattva do with the gold cup? He makes a vow. If I would attain Buddhahood today, may this gold cup float upstream. If I would not attain Buddhahood today, let it flow downstream with the current. So can you guess what direction it floated? Right. The gold cup floats upstream against the current with the speed of a sprinting horse, we're told, before eventually sinking into a whirlpool. So Venerable Sayadaw writes of the gold cup, "On reaching the mansion of the Naga king, Gala, it hit all the 3 gold cups used by the 3 previous Buddhas, namely Kakusanda, Konagamana, and Kassapa, on the day they were to attain Buddhahood, producing the metallic sound of gili, gili, and came to rest under the said 3 gold cups." Now, Nagas, as you can see on the screen, in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism are mythical creatures, half human, half serpent. In Cambodia, where I lived from 2016 to 2017, you'll find many depictions of a particularly famous Naga named Muchalinda protecting Gautama Buddha from the heavy rains and the harsh winds during those 49 days after his enlightenment period. So I'll go back to return to our golden cup. Now it's resting in the Naga king Kala's underwater mansion, after making the gili gili sound against the golden cups of the previous Buddhas. As Venerable Sayadaw tells it, the Serpent King comments, it was only yesterday that a Buddha appeared. Today, another Buddha appears. And then he rose, uttering words of praise in many verses. And Venerable Sayadaw notes, the period of time intervening the appearance of Buddha Kassapa and our Buddha was so long that in the meantime the great earth had risen by 1 yojana and 3 gavutas. But as for Galanaga, it was so very short that he could say of these appearances as happening yesterday and today. So as you might have guessed, I am very fond of this Naga king. This story makes me think that maybe awakening doesn't have to be a rare occasion that only happens to special people every few eons. Maybe if we change our perspective to that of the Nagas, it's happening daily. This makes me think of a story that I write about in my forthcoming book, which is titled One Long Listening, a memoir of grief, friendship, and spiritual care. So I have a galley copy of the book, so I thought I would just read a very short section from it. Bodhisattvas respond to our prayers. To what extent do you agree with this statement? One of the Japanese-American Shin Buddhists I interviewed suggests all people can be bodhisattvas, and prayers don't have to be silent or private. So anytime you ask someone for help and receive it, a bodhisattva has just responded to your prayer. I love this idea that we can always be bodhisattvas, any moment, any day, just by asking for help and receiving it. In a similar vein, if we open our hearts and minds to the possibility of awakening in everyday life, we might just find ourselves awakened. The possibility of awakening lies in our capacity to listen fully and to dwell in gratitude for the unrepayable gifts that have made it possible for us to be here in this very moment. So I am no doubt a bombu, a foolish being who will be tripped up every single day by my greed, aversion, and ignorance. But I can also take inspiration from Sujata, giving to others with great love and care, cultivating a heart of gratitude and celebration. I can take inspiration from Galanaga and rejoice at how regularly I'm receiving the good news of awakening. This Bodhi Day, may we open ourselves to the sounds of awakening that are waiting just around the river bend. Gili, gili. Maybe that sound is a grandchild's laugh. Maybe it's a sibling's shout of triumph. Maybe it's a sound that conveys both grief and gratitude, like the last breaths of a beloved friend. This Bodhi Day, may we learn from the stories of our own and others' cultures, stories that remind us moments of awakening are possible this very moment. Thank you all for your kind listening. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you for your message, Ms. Han. Harrison Kaneko will now lead us in unison reading of the Eightfold Path to Happiness.
The teachings of the Buddha help us to understand the oneness of all life. To lead us in the right direction, the Buddha provided us with the Eightfold Path. right views, to keep of prejudice and superstition, and to see the true nature of life. Right thoughts, to turn our minds away from violence and hatred. Right speech, to refrain from harmful talk and to use our words wisely. Right conduct, to see that our deeds come from peace and goodwill, to grow every day in the Buddha's teachings. Right livelihood, to try to earn our living in such a way that we avoid causing suffering. Right energy, to use our energies to promote the overcoming of ignorance and destructive desires. Right mindfulness, to cherish a good mind for all that we think and to have roots in mind. Right meditation, to study the teachings of the Buddha and to practice them to our best of our abilities. May the presence of the Buddha, who said that he would live in his teachings, be our guide. May we follow this path until we too realize nirvana.
Thank you, Harrison. We will now have the offertory presentation. Mahalo everyone for your kind generosity. We will conclude this service with singing of the Gatha Nembutsu. Please rise.
Namanab, 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 namanab.
You may be seated. This concludes today's Bodhi Day service. Here are some announcements. Upcoming schedule of services and events. Reverend Blaine sent out a weekly update email on Friday, December 2nd. Please check your email and be sure to read it for upcoming services, reminders, and interesting virtual links and YouTube links. There are two important attachments to this email. The first one is Chenxing Han will be giving a lecture as well as book signing this Saturday, December 10 from 2 o'clock to 3:30 p.m. at Daifuku Sodo Mission. Daifuku and Kona Hongguanji are co-hosting this event. Her book is entitled Be the Refuge, Raising the Voices of Asian American Buddhists. The event is open to the public and everyone is welcome to attend either in person or via Zoom. The second is Reverend Muneto former resident minister of Kona Hongwanji, will be conducting a seminar entitled Never Alone, Shin Buddhism and End-of-Life Care. Also on Saturday, December 10 from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Click on the link to register and receive the Zoom link. The next two Dharma Family Hybrid services will be on Sundays, December 11 and December 18. Both services will begin at 10 a.m. Any other announcements, Reverend Blaine or anyone else?
Good morning and happy holidays, and thank you for joining today's Bodhi Day service sponsored by Dharma School. My name is Majiko. I'm a Dharma School teacher, and this announcement for the Dharma School family and the student and family, I like to take a group picture after the service, so please stay in Hondo. And order the Sangha, please give us a few minutes to serve the refreshment. As soon as we finish the photo shooting, we will come serve the refreshment. Thank you.
Good morning. We got a call from the Cherry Blossom Festival. They're going to do it this next year. And every year for, I don't know how many years, it's been like this forever, Kono Honganji participated and did the mochi pounding demonstration. So they have asked us to come out again and do that. I cannot confirm with them unless I get a coordinator. Now we have people who have done it before and they will be there to help you, get everything together. But I would like to have someone out here today, or if you know someone that can coordinate the event, you will have help. We'll all be there to help. And those that have done it before, that knows exactly how much rice to buy and what machines to bring and all of that, can be done. But we need someone to lead it. So if you can contact me or the temple, but let me know today. I would like to do this. This is a community service, and it puts us out there showing everybody what Japanese culture is in Hawaii. And mochi pounding, we made peanut butter mochi and all these delicious mochi. So please, if you know of anyone or if you yourself would like to volunteer to coordinate it, please, let's go ahead and do it again this year. It's been like 3 years, I think, since we've done it. So it would be nice to get out there again. And Cherry Blossom Festival is February 4th. So, thank you.
Thank you again, Chenxing Han, for being our guest speaker today. Those of you on Zoom, when you are ready to leave, just tap or click on the Leave Meeting button on your screen. Those of you here in person, refreshments are available in the conference room. A big mahalo to the Dharma School moms, Maki, Rochelle, and Tiffany, for providing the goodies. Thank you all for joining us. Please stay safe, get your bivalent and flu vaccinations, and we hope to see you next Saturday and Sunday.